We haven't said this year. The Kings allowed a team to score 70 or more points in the first half. Let's see. One, two, three, four, 8 times this year, 9 times. What a pathetic performance. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if the Kings are going to win this game or not, but I'm going to make this statement here right before the new year. There's something wrong with this team. Okay? There is something wrong with this team. You do not get embarrassed by a bad Portland team, have 2 full days off, and don't play until the third day, and you go into a city where a team is not very good, 12th in the conference, only 4 home wins, and you're getting your ass kicked. There's something wrong with the Kings right now. There is something wrong with this team.
Well, it's their biggest asset and their biggest curse, Grant. It's shot making. When this team's making shots, they're okay. But when you see them missing open shots to a team like Atlanta, yeah, this is what's going to happen. But the difference is this Atlanta team will let you hang around and give you a chance to win the game. Good teams will not.
7 of 25 from 3, 2 of 6 from the line. So why would I have any hope that this Kings team, number one, will even make the playoffs? And if they do make the playoffs, they could beat anybody. This team is not going to win consistently with this style of basketball. It's not going to work, plain and simple. And the reason why it's not going to work is, once again, we are talking about several starters who don't even show up. All right. Now, in all fairness, Mike Brown did not allow them to continue their futility. Harrison Barnes played 5 minutes. Kevin Huerter played 5 minutes. And you know what Mike Brown said? I'm done. Get off the floor. Okay. But here's again Keegan Murray. We're waiting for Keegan Murray to put 2 good games together. 2 good games. That's it. I just want him to see play good one game and play well the next game. 1 of 5 from 3, 2 of 6 in 17 minutes, 3 rebounds. And I don't want to blow this too much out of proportion. He was minus 30. Are you ready for this? You know how hard it is to be a minus 30 in one half of basketball? Do you know that's like almost impossible?
It's right up there, Grant, and the Kings are giving us nearly impossible, not nearly on the good end of things too much this season, but Keegan Murray specifically, it looks like there's 2 mindsets. It's I have my decision made up before I make the play, or he's in aggressive mode, and unfortunately, with the style of play up and down right now, it does not benefit him.
Did the Kings fly to Atlanta, or did they bust to Atlanta? Did they take like the John Madden cruiser and seriously, this team, you're down 23 points in the first half of the first quarter? Think about that for a minute. Well, you know what, Ryan? That team wasn't ready to play.
No, and you saw in that I'm so glad you just said that, Grant, because the second time out of the first quarter, after the first little run the bench was in, Mike Brown snapped the team out of it, and it was a different team for about 8-9 minutes in that game, and then they ended the second half poorly. So it is completely effort. It's I don't know, Grant, if it has more to do with the ball going through the basket or players not touching the ball as much as they'd like to.
We got a text that the Kings, since they moved to from Kansas City, Michael says they've only won 6 times in Atlanta. I know I did the games in Atlanta for 32 years. And very rarely did we walk out of there with a win. And most of the time, the Hawks were not very good. But why would I have any hope that the Kings are going to be able to come from 18 down? If you told me, Grant, the Kings are going to win, okay, you know what I would say? De'Aaron Fox is going to have a 30-point half, which he's capable of, because he did not play well in the first half. He has 5 points. All right. Now, what did we talk about with the Atlanta Hawks? Trae Young really hasn't gotten going either. He only has 8 points, right?
Yeah, but he's still killing the Kings from the perimeter. He is breaking the defense down at the point of attack.
7 assists.
Absolutely killing them. It's where the Kings struggle the most, and the Kings are giving up second opportunities to an Atlanta team that, quite frankly, doesn't deserve them. And credit to Atlanta for cashing in on those. They had 16 second chance points in the first half.
I don't see the Kings coming back in this game. I think there's something really wrong with this team. I think there's something really wrong with this team. You and I talked about this, I think, was it maybe after the Portland game, or was it at halftime? I can't remember. But I said, you know what, Rhino? I can't put my finger on it, but something just isn't right with this team. right? And I still don't
Yeah.
know what it is. This team, you made a point, and I followed up on it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
You made a comment to me like, Napes, this team doesn't look like they're having fun playing basketball or something to that degree.
Yeah, it looks like they're not loving basketball the same way they loved it last year together.
Wow. I don't even know what else to say other than a wow. And guess what? The Kings actually had gotten back to single digits, and then
Yeah.
at the end of the half, they allow Atlanta to go on one of those teams. All right, here's one. It looks like I'm sorry, it's going. Looks like Mike Brown has lost this team. You know what? I'm not saying he has lost this team because I'm not prepared to do that. But you're right. That's exactly what it looks like. This looks like a team that doesn't believe in their coach. This looks like a team that has kind of said, we're this team's not ready to play right now.
I'm not ready to say that a Mike Brown coach team, especially coming off last year, doesn't believe in their coach.
I understand,
Quite
but
yet.
he just said
Yeah.
it looked like that.
It looked like, yeah, I'm not quite ready to go there, but there could be something to the fact that they're not buying into the principles around the way the Kings are playing, first and foremost, starting on defense, because that's where the focus has been this season.
I'm telling you, and I know I've been behind the scenes with this organization. If this continues, you're going to have an owner that is going to be meddling like you cannot believe. Trust me on that. Just trust me on that. This is a very important half of basketball in the sense that I don't know if you come back from 18 down. I mean, the Kings could come back. The Kings could have the lead going into the fourth quarter. We know that, okay? I want to start seeing him play good basketball. Like, I haven't seen him play good basketball in a while now. They didn't play good basketball against Portland. They didn't play well against Minnesota, right? I thought they played well against Phoenix, but Phoenix is a 500 team. They got their doors blown off the game before that by Boston, and Boston was without Jason Tatum and Al Horford. I think the last good game I saw this Kings play, Oklahoma City, to open up that 6-game homestand. And I'm mindful of the fact they were 4-2 in that homestand. But in terms of quality basketball, that was a quality game. I haven't seen them play quality basketball in a long time.
No, they have not been playing quality basketball, and that starts with the fundamentals. Free throws, they're not getting to the free throw line, and when they do, they're missing. They're not rebounding like they were at the start of the season. And, it's just one of those things, Grant. This team has to find a way to do it different ways. We keep talking about it. And when you talk about the owner meddling, what scares me is the franchise is at a point where they could make a big decision that could affect the trajectory of everything they've built up until this point in the last 24 months.
All right, what's your prediction for a final score in this one?
My gosh. I don't know about Monk. See, now that's the wild card to me. I'm going to say Sacramento loses. With Monk up in the air, with how important he was to that spark.
I know.
I'm going to say a loss. Sacramento. I'm going to say Atlanta 122, Sacramento 105.
I'm going to say the Hawks win this game 132 to 104.
All right.
Yeah, you made a good point about Monk. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, because he had 13 points on 5 of 7 shooting in that first half.
Yeah, he was electric. I mean, probably one of his best dunks of the year, if not the best. And on top of that, he was the reason they make that run in the second quarter. And it was a separate injury appearing to be his hip, separate from the foot he's dealing with.
Yep. This team defensively is putrid. They're horrible. I mean, they're not even adequate. They're not. And so when you play this poor, you said it, they can't stop any dribble penetration. So when you get a night where you're not shooting at a very high clip from 3, this team can't win. They just can't win.
No,
there's no other way they can beat you.
They have to be perfect. They have to be perfect offensively to beat you on a night like that. Yeah, and Grant, when your defense is centered around taking charges, that doesn't speak well to how you guard on the perimeter. And that's what the defense is typically centered around on most nights for the Kings. So whether they have to trap, whether they have to pick up full court, they started to do it in the first half. They've got to continue that in the second half.
And I will say, if the Kings do not win this game, no matter what happens in Memphis, this is a horrible road trip.
Awful. Awful. And here's the other thing, Grant. The Kings are getting to play the basketball they want to play in Atlanta right now,
Great
playing
point.
small ball with Trey Lyles at the 5. So if this is the secret sauce and this is how good it tastes, probably
Yep.
got to throw the sauce out.
Trey Lyles, 12 points in 15 minutes in that first half. How many times have we come on at halftime and talked about Fox being in single digits?
Not a few times, and he's bounced back. I think he had a 30-point half the first time it happened.
Well, he's going to need that now. He's going to need a 30-point half. You know,
he is. It's kind of a weird game the way they're guarding him right now, but he's going to have somebody else help him out because they've got to get that shooting on that first pass from Fox if they start trapping.
Wow. You have 6 quarters of basketball left in 2023, and this is such a completely different feel than last year as we got ready to flip the calendar. Totally different. I mean, it's night and day, isn't it? The feeling with this team?
Last year was an ascent. This year feels like a fall.
Yeah. Ascent, descent. That's where we're at right now. And again, this game's not over, but I don't have a real good feeling. Why would I think that after what I saw in Portland and saw in the first 2 quarters of this game, that all of a sudden the Kings are going to come out and play really well? I mean, why would I think that? The Hawks, by the way, they shot 50% from the floor. They shot 50% from downtown, 10 of 20, and they shot 76%. And how about the rebounding, right? The Kings got killed on the glass.
Yep, killed. Absolutely killed. So that's just a bad combination. I mean, the Hawks stars tonight are playing well. Jalen Johnson, their rookie.
Boy,
watch for him in the second half. He is a good player. He hasn't been healthy much of the season. So if the Kings can cap it like they did in the second quarter for the most part, that may be their opportunity in combination with a big offensive run.
They got outscored 35-30 in the second quarter.
Too much. You're thinking about an 28th in the league in points allowed.
Yep.
So in Sacramento only has 53 on the board, and Atlanta overplays defensively. Most teams get open corner threes and back cuts, which the Kings are catching on to now, but 53 points is a joke. And like you led with 71, Grant. Put them in the column with who was the other team? The Wizards. The Wizards just a few nights ago.
Well, I'm just going to you cannot win in the NBA with this style of basketball. You just can't. You cannot win. You cannot win in the NBA when your defense is as putrid as the Kings. You can't. You just can't win. Now, you're going to win some games here and there. I mean, after all, they are 5 games over 500. But make no mistake about it, folks. This team right now is looking at a collapse. Okay, they're looking at, if you want to just go back and look at a trend, it's almost like the stock market. The graph here does not look good. Okay, and all the analytics, all the numbers, and Ryan did a phenomenal job last week putting up a graphic. The difference between the Kings' wins and losses. They're not even competitive when they lose, right? The games aren't even close.
20 points. 20 points is usually the average difference between wins and losses.
All right, we'll be back in an hour. I don't know what to expect. I really don't with this team. I did a rant on this today. Which Sacramento Kings team will show up tonight? Will the real Sacramento Kings team please take a step forward? They took 2-3 steps back so far in that first half. Wow.
They have, and it's time to fight and dig yourself out of a hole, something this team has not done too many times this year.
5 minutes coming up of this third quarter. That's going to tell a lot.
Huge start. It's got to be a big start.
Has to. Ryan, talk to you in an hour, my friend.
Sounds good, Napes.
Thanks, everybody. Back here on If You Don't Like That right after the game.